Hey everyone, happy Valentine's Day. I am really behind on getting stuff going for our garden. We had snow the month of January, my kids were sick, we've had a lot of school projects. So I'm trying to slowly get everything organized and ready for our garden. I'm going to go ahead and set up my station for where I'm going to be putting my seeds. I don't have an area specifically in my house, so I normally was putting mine on my kitchen buffet, but now I'm using it for other things. So I'm going to put my seeds at the end of our dining room table, and it's great for the kids to come by and really check them out and see how they're doing. I like starting seeds just for fun doing with my kids. I'm just going to put a towel down and start setting up my station so that way it does not get dirty down here. When I'm doing things with my kids, when it comes to gardening with soil, it tends to get really messy and I don't want to damage this table. My dad and I built this together. I designed it with how I wanted it to look on the top and he built it and I helped him build it. It was a lot of fun and I want to try to take very good care of this table. It means a lot to me. So I'm just going through everything that I set out for seeds, and I have little cells and I have some trays with some clear tops. So I'm just getting it all set up. My kids love doing this with me. We have had these trays for a few years. They are definitely well used and loved from trying to start, some plants from seeds. So I'm definitely going to go try to shake them out as best as possible because right here there is a lot of stuff in this one. Just trying to tidy up a little bit. I know it's going to get dirty anyway since we're going to be, starting our seeds in it, and it happens. But just going to shake out as much possible of the loose soil as I can. And my husband is actually at the grocery store right now getting stuff so he can make dinner for us for Valentine's. It was so sweet of him. He ended up doing some steak potatoes and some asparagus. And my youngest is taking a nap and my two others are at school. So this is nice. I kind of get the morning to myself and, just really start trying to get things ready for when we go to start our seeds. And again, I really love doing this with my kids because it's such a fun activity to do with them. They get really involved with gardening. So this is a lot of fun to do with them. Now I tried folding my towel a certain way so that way when my youngest is coming around the corner, he likes to grab on the table and grab anything he can. What little kid does not like to do that? So I know I'm going to have to adjust it when he does wake up and he does try to start grabbing everything, and I will move it further up on the table so that way all our seeds that we have started do not go on the ground. That would be a lot of fun cleaning up. Anyways, so I definitely made it, accommodating to him when he tries to come up to the table. My trays are ready to go, so I'm going to go ahead and start on the next thing and show you what else I have. I got 200 peat pellets from Amazon, and these are always fun with the kids because they like to put the water on top and then let them puff up. And it came with a tray as well. Not sure what I'm going to use with that one because it's got a lot of holes in the bottom, but we'll see. These also came with it. It came with also some little tools for planting the seeds and these tags. I'm really excited about these tags because these will be great for when we start our seeds. Also, I like to save my tags from previous plants that I have bought in years before because sometimes it's nice when we actually put our plants into the garden beds and I can put these tags with it because when they're so little, sometimes I get confused and my kids always ask like, hey, what plant did you plant here? And then I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't remember because sometimes I just feel the moment and just start planting things where I want them to go in my garden bed. Sometimes I try to plot it out on like a garden map. Sometimes that works for me and sometimes it doesn't. I have 3 kids. My life is busy and I still just try to keep going and also try to keep it organized. So those little tags that I save help me out tremendously. This one my daughter picked out to plant and also some okra as well. She's been really liking okra in her soup and they freeze amazing. So those are some things we're going to be growing. My son wants to do the rainbow carrots. My daughter did that last year, but last year all we had was orange carrots, and he also wants to do some eggplant. He loves getting out in the garden with me, so I really love when he gets so involved. These are perfect. I got these last year from Amazon. They are for gnats, the little flies, and they're perfect, to get them. And then also I keep all my seeds in a little shoebox. It works out perfect. I know everyone has their own way of how they organize their seeds, but for me this works great. And whatever system you find that works best, work with it. There's nothing wrong with how your system works. You can always improve it over the time. Now I'm going to wait to start the peat pods with my kids because they love doing this. It's so exciting watching it grow in the water. They love it. So we're going to go over doing those together with my kids. But I'm really excited. I got 2 new 100-gallon grow bags. So I'm really excited about it. Actually, sorry, there's 4. Yes, there's 4 total, 2 in each pack, that I'm going to be including into the garden this year. I'm really excited. I really like how these work. They're ideal. You know, we're still learning where we want to put everything in our yard for our garden. So these are nice for where you don't want to make something so permanent. I mean, if I have to move it, I have to move the soil up, but that's perfectly fine. They're going to be great because I know where I'm going to put them. I just need to figure out what I'm going to plant in them. But I'm super excited about that. And I've also been stocking up on things for canning. Let me show you what I have for canning. Okay, so I like to start getting some things ready for when it's canning season because sometimes it's really hard to find some of those supplies. So I got Mrs. Wage's kosher and dill pickles. I really like this one a lot. I like making a lot of my homemade spices in the mixtures, but sometimes I like having these because it's easy just to whip these together. And we are adding more cucumbers to our garden this year than last year. So last year I had an abundance of cucumbers, and I'm hoping this year we'll have more than we had last year. So I definitely want to be stocked up on supplies for that. I also picked up some canning jar lids because you could never have enough of these. These are great. These ones are from Walmart. I want to say I paid $2.97 for a 12 pack. So I got 4 of those. I know I'm going to be needing some more. I need to count how many I have in my pantry right now so I don't, you know, overbuy. And again, they won't go to waste even if I do overbuy because you always need them, especially if you're a canner. I also picked up some half-pint jars. I love this one, and I don't know about you, but it's hard finding some of the ones that, you know, if you have that you really like. Well, this one here is the quilted crystal jars. I really like this one. I love the design on the jars itself, and I didn't know it'd be hard to find them when I'm out of them, but I really love this pattern a lot, so I bought a pack. And, oh, I also got pickling and canning salt because you always need that. And I also, my daughter and I, we went and looked at some seeds, and we got some at Walmart. I got carrots because we've been loving to grow those, and more basil because that's one of my favorite herbs to grow in the summer, and more asparagus seeds. And now I know the asparagus take a good 2 to 5 years to really grow, but they're amazing. I have 2 pots with them right now, and I want to say we are on year 4, so we'll see how they'll do this year. We had a great Valentine's Day. Today is February 16th, 2025, and we are starting on our seeds. I like to take notes so that way I can kind of compare my notes from last year to see how things did and if we started at a good time or if I should delay, that kind of thing. Anyway, so we have 2 trays with the clear tops on top, and so I like to go by like tray 1 and tray 2. Each tray has a total of 72 spaces for the peat pellets.
Oh, those
and
here.
My daughter is going to go ahead and count out 72 of them for us, and we're putting them in a giant bowl this year. Last year, if you've seen some of my previous videos, we've done them in like to-go containers and did it that way, making them puff up, and then we transported them to the trays. This year we're trying it differently because this year we are going to be taking hot water to put them on top of the peat pellets because I'm hoping that that will really help deter having gnats this year. We didn't really have them bad last year, but we have had them bad previous years before. And again, I always learn as I go with gardening, and that can make it really fun as you go. And especially with my kids, they're learning too. And this is going to be such a great trait for them to have as they're older. So doing this with them is a lot of fun for me to learn with them, and they love learning with it. So anyways, we are going to take hot water and we're going to pour them on top.
Here I go, guys. Do not touch the water. It's very hot.
Oh my gosh.
They
How did that
definitely need more water.
happen?
Isn't that neat?
Oh my gosh. They're just puffed up. Yeah, you need some on that side. So it can...
Puff up a little bit more.
I definitely needed more warm water, and we're gonna get them to expand more. You know, I don't know if using the warm water is beneficial or just using cold water. We will definitely learn as we go every garden season.
See on this top right here? We're gonna rip that part off slightly, okay? If you need help, I can help you. We can also get scissors.
Like this.
See how I have this piece here? We're gonna cut that little piece off, okay?
And then you keep peeling down.
Yep, I'm gonna set that right there.
Oh, I thought you meant like...
So some, like this one, like he was nicely open, okay? So we're gonna stick that one there.
Yeah. Can I have the scissors?
Yep. And so this one's kind of, you need some help too.
I have read so many different things on it that's saying that warm water helps kills the fungus gnats and cold water, it's fine. It's just if you have too much water that it can then create the fungus gnats. So there's a lot of different things that I have read on the internet about it. So definitely learning as I go has been helpful. And, you know, last year we really did not have that many fungus gnats, to be honest. It was the previous year before we had a lot. And, you know, I think then I had overwatered it. So that's probably more than likely why I had all the fungus gnats, was because there was just too much moisture in it. I found my old notes, pulled them out, and was going over what we planted last year, starting from seeds and how many I did per quantity, and, you know, when I started them and then when I transplanted them, and then which ones really made it when I transplanted them. Last year we had a good amount, but then when I transplanted them, I accidentally overwatered them one night, and then a good majority of them died. I was really sad about that. So I'm hoping that this year we can do, you know, decent fair, like making a good fair amount that we can, you know, put out in the garden. It was nice to really see that transition with the kids and watching them grow. So, you know, it's such an exciting thing with the kids, you know, especially when they walk by the trays and they're like, oh my gosh, something's sprouting. Oh, look, that's growing. Oh my goodness. You know, it's just so exciting to see them get so excited. I really like these tools that came with the peat pellets. It was really convenient. In the past, we have used just pencils to make the holes. You can use that too. Either way is perfectly fine. Use what you have. I was just really lucky that these came with it. And we had some from another set too, and I never really used them. I always used just like pencils. But this works great. My husband loves jalapenos, so of course we are going to be growing jalapenos. He loves anything spicy. And I actually want to grow more jalapenos this year because you can freeze jalapenos and make like a nice chutney with it, and, you know, mix it with diced tomatoes and onions, and just, it's so tasty that way too. I will have to share that recipe over the summertime when we have some jalapenos. We have gone through all our frozen ones, and I like to use the frozen ones for that just because it does release some water to it and it does help. So we're going to be growing more jalapenos this year for canning and for freezing. And I also want to make some jalapeno poppers and freeze those once we make them, because that's nice too, because those are good for up to 3 months. So it's nice when you have a nice variety of options of things you can make with something you grow. I am adding 2 seeds for the jalapenos to each peat pellet. That way, if one doesn't grow, then we have a backup. So always doing 2 is smart, especially for the little seeds. So here are all the peppers that I want to grow. We definitely get a good variety when we go out. I've gotten quite a few from the Dollar Tree, and they do grow very well. I also like to get them from Walmart and sometimes from Lowe's. Lowe's can be a little more pricey. Walmart I have found to be a good price. I have not really ordered any online. If you do have a place that you love to get yours online and you find them to be a great price, please let me know. I would love to explore and to see my other options for prices. I do love to save bell pepper seeds from our garden. They work perfect as long as you let them dry out. You don't want them to collect any moisture when you put them in the Ziploc bag. If that happens, then they create mold and then they're no longer good. I don't put mine in my refrigerator.
I still have luck from regrowing them. Just make sure that they dry out and, you know, before you put them in the Ziploc bag. But they work perfect. For tray 1, it's all peppers. So this is going to be exciting. I'm excited for the grow bags that we are adding. And my daughter helped me with it too, so that was a lot of fun. My son, he didn't really want to do it too much with it because he was having fun playing with my youngest, but it's okay. I had a blast doing this with my daughter. And then we started getting the peat pellets ready for tray number 2 as well. So we just repeated the steps of getting hot water and putting them on top of the peat pellets and just watching them expand. And we needed quite a bit more because I only had a measuring cup that held 4 cups. So I just kind of had to, you know, keep adding water to it and then microwaving it, which was perfectly fine. I've seen some people actually boil it on the stove and then dump it in, but I didn't want to make my water too extremely hot because I am, again, doing this with children and I didn't want their fingertips to get, you know, burnt. So this worked out perfectly fine. I think I microwaved it on high of like 3 minutes, 3.5, not too long, but it definitely worked out perfectly well. February 18th, we went back to finishing the peat pellets, and this is for tray 2. My kids are doing their homework, so we're all just hanging out around the table, chatting it up, hearing about how the day went at school, and I am working on putting the rest of the seeds in for tray number 2. This one's going to be a good mixture of things. This is not all peppers, since we did all peppers for the last tray, but I'm definitely taking notes. It was nice that we got the peat pellets all nice and into the trays with the tops cut off. My daughter and I did that on February 16th. That's what we finished up that day. And it, you know, sometimes you just kind of have to spread it out, and that's perfectly fine. We are a busy family, so I have to stop some things here and there, and that's perfectly fine. I am just going through and adding holes to each peat pellet, so that way it speeds up the process, so when I go to drop the seeds in, it's already done. And I just try to find like a system or a rhythm of how it works best for you. A gardening tip that is very helpful is always look up when your last frost date is for your location. I try to find, you know, my last frost date, and then I also look at when like is best and convenient for me. And if you know your area well, I always find that when it's like, oh, it seems like it's getting warmer, I have to remind myself, don't forget, there's going to be some more cold days. It always happens here in North Carolina for us. And I get really excited. I'm like, yes, we can start gardening, but that's not so true. Always look at your last frost date. Really plan accordingly to that date. I love that he just came right up and he was like, okay, pick me up. Let me hang out with you. Let me see what you're doing. What are you doing, Mom? I just need some hugs and just hang out with you and I'll be good. It was so cute. I love these moments like this with him. Especially with all the kids, just them coming up and seeing what I'm doing. Also getting involved with the gardening. I love it. I love growing these yellow pear tomatoes. They are just gorgeous. They're small, like a grape tomato. They taste phenomenal, and they're just beautiful on salads for the summertime. It brings some yellow color to the salad, or you can even garnish it, you know, with other things, with other vegetables and cooking with it. It's so tasty. I love this one. It's one of my favorites. I love to grow it every summer. Now, last season of 2024, I did not have any of the yellow pear tomatoes because we did start them from seed, but they did not do well. That was one of the ones that died. It got overwatered, and I was really sad about it. So that was the first summer without them. I love adding them to caprese salads too. That's really tasty. That's something we really love to do in the summertime, being that we have fresh basil, fresh tomatoes, and who does not want to take advantage of having fresh stuff like that with a caprese salad? Now these are smaller seeds, so I am doing 2 per peat pellet, and just in hopes that at least one will take off. And so I'm doing 6 total peat pellets, so that's a total of 12. Some may do well and some may not do well, and if they all do well, that's fabulous. I will figure out where to put them. Here's another one of my favorite ones, the large cherry tomatoes. I love these. They're great. And I'm going to repeat the steps by writing them in the notebook and then putting 2 per peat pellet and then just packing them in. And the nice thing is these peat pellets are really nice and wet, so I did not have to re-water them, being that we started those on the 16th and this is the 18th. It still worked out perfectly fine. But I'm just going to show you all the tomatoes that I have that I am going to be planting from seeds. And I don't have any Lemon Boy seeds or Purple Cherokee tomatoes. Those ones I really like to get from a local nursery here in North Carolina, close to where I live. And They have great deals, and I'm really always so happy with getting their plants from there, and their prices are phenomenal. So I will get those there at the local nursery. I don't tend to have the best luck with growing broccoli from seeds, but we're just going to go ahead and give it a try since I have the seeds already. I do like to get the broccoli and then plant it like March. If I planted it the last time March 3rd, and then I was able to harvest it. I want to say it was May. It was around May, around Mother's Day. It was around that time, and I was able to harvest them, and then we were able to cook them up and eat them. It was so good, so tasty. So I will more than likely get out and go get some already grown, because who knows how these will turn out with growing from seeds. Sometimes they just get so straggly, and I just really don't have luck in them. They just flop over. I don't have a fan to blow on them to keep them, to structure their roots. So sometimes we go by and we just blow on them and see if that helps a little. This is such a great learning process for me and my kids. So let's talk about cucumbers. I absolutely love growing cucumbers in our garden. I really like just taking the seed and actually sticking it out in the ground when it's after the last frost date. But this is such a great learning thing for the kids because these actually grow fast. So these are always fun for them to see the transition with it. Now we may end up having some great ones to be able to plant outside later, or they just may all die because they're in a smaller container. Once they do start to get bigger, we will start transplanting them. I don't know how well they will take off because, last year ours did not do well since I overwatered them. But again, this is a great learning experience for them because they do grow fast. The bigger seeds, I always have such best luck just directly planting it in the soil right after the last frost date, and it does better that way. So again, this part here is just a learning process for the kids, and we'll see how this goes. Fingers crossed, we can take these and actually plant these outside. I really love the straight 8 cucumbers, the dasher ones, the pickling ones. I'm not a big fan of the bush cucumber. It's really short and stumpy. I don't know, we had it last summer and I was not a huge fan of it, so I won't be getting that one again. I think next year, since I have so many seeds, I will stagger doing the cucumbers and plant those in the peat pellets before like the last frost date, so that way then when we can plant everything outside, these would be ready to plant right directly outside, and then that way it'll give us a jump start. So I think next year I'll do that, and I'll write that in my notes so that way I can remember, hey, don't plant the cucumbers again when you plant all the other seeds, because these do grow fast and they vine. So that's the other hard thing, is once you transplant them into another container, then you have to keep watching them because they're going to want to try to vine up something. So I'll have to figure something out then if they do grow very well and they do well when we transplant them into a different container. I love growing squash, especially summer squash. It's really tasty. I love grilling them up. Oh, well, I don't grill, my husband grills. So I always do like the marinades and make the fancy, stuff for it and cut them up and things like that. And then he does the grilling. But I really like to plant these again directly in the soil after the last frost. But I'm trying this out with my kids to see how this one works. And also, I like to stagger these throughout the garden season because there is that nasty bug that burrows into it and it just eats it and destroys it. So I've tried the foil on the bottom of the plant. That was pain in my butt trying to wrap that around there. I did not like doing that. It was not fun. So I try to stagger them out. Like if I see that things are starting to like die down, I will make note like, okay, hey, I need to plant this like maybe a few weeks before, and just keep an eye on it when I should start making that second round of putting the seeds in the soil. And it does help because then it can stretch it out to you still have some of them for the end of the summer. Zucchinis, I love those. I love shredding them up, making zucchini muffins, zucchini breads, shredding them up, putting it into soups. It freezes amazing. I mean, even just grilling them too. This is one of my favorites as well. Putting in like a grill basket with the summer squash, some onions, some peppers, mushrooms, shrimp, whatever. You can just have a lot of fun with it. But these I like as well to plant directly in the ground too after the last frost date. And these I also staggered just like the summer squash. And the bugs too, the bugs that like to burrow into them. It's just, oh, it drives me nuts because they're like, oh, I have such a beautiful plant growing. It's so gorgeous. Nice giant green leaves and just beautiful zucchinis and summer squash growing off of them. And then it's like this bug just comes in. You're like, oh my goodness, just go away, please. Anyway, so I like to stagger these as well. So that way then I can try to get as much from it as I can for the summer. February 19th, I did finish up tray number 2 with the seeds. It felt great to finally get it done. I felt like I was late in the game with them, but again, I'm really always learning with the kids and myself with how we're doing this, and this is why I take notes. I really love these summer squash scalloped ones. They are so cute. They're very similar to just a summer squash, how they taste, but they're cute how they grow. I always say to the kids, they look like a squishy marshmallow, and they laugh and they love it. So now for all the bigger seeds, I'm only doing 1 per peat pellet, and I really do love growing these ones directly in the soil for the bigger seeds. They do so much better. But this is really neat for the kids to see. But if I put 2 in the peat pellets, I felt like it would really overcram it for them for how big and how fast they grow. So I only did 1. My middle son picked out eggplants and carrots to grow for this garden season, the rainbow carrots. Now, I wanted to count to see how many actual seeds I had for the eggplants. I'm not going to start these in the peat pellets. I'm actually going to have him do those, and he gets a feel for it. And then the carrots we will grow directly in the ground, because that's just silly to start these from the peat pellets. And I'd rather start them directly in the soil. It's easy to space them out that way. So we're going to do those directly out in the garden once we have it all cleaned and ready and figure out what area I'm putting them in. I should get them out soon because I don't want to wait too long. So we'll be getting those done and out in the ground soon. He also likes growing watermelon, so I'm not sure how old these seeds are. They are fairly old. I think I got these from my mom years ago, so those are like ancient. Not ancient, but you know what I mean. They're old. And I don't know how well they're going to do. I should have done something where I took like a wet paper towel, put them in between, and then to see if they germinate by that, and then it would be a good seed. So we're just going to go ahead and try it right directly in the peat pellet. And if it doesn't grow, then I will just plant something else in the peat pellet so I don't waste it. But, the kids really loved growing the sugar baby watermelons last summer. They were really cute. So I just wanted to use these up. I have seeds I need to use up. So, I think some of these seeds are a few years old. Some of them are new, but I've just accumulated them over the years. So I don't want them to go to waste. So it is fun for them. I honestly think my mom and I got these seeds when I was in high school. So those are really old. And then the ones that are the green bell peppers in this envelope, those are seeds from my bell peppers that I, let dried, and then I put them in the envelope. I've done Ziploc bags too. I've done envelopes. I like the Ziploc bags better because then when the kids go through them, they don't go everywhere. They do tend to go everywhere when they are in these envelopes, so I'm hoping to try to just use these up. Here's how everything is looking so far. It's March 6th, 2025. The cucumbers and the zucchinis have grown a lot. That's why I say I like to just directly plant the seed outside in the garden rather than in one of these little starter sets. But I do this for my kids because they can really see how fast they grow. And the tomatoes did really well too so far. And then, like I was saying in the video earlier, my broccoli always gets really flimsy. Oh, and here's what happens a lot. My youngest loves to pull everything down from my dining room table. So I've really shifted things over. My kids started okra and eggplants a few days ago. I want to say that was March 4th. And this is how much okra seeds we have left. We have quite a bit. And he loves trying to get up on the table.
Hi, you.
He brought my garden bag
Are you on my
over.
grow bag and your
And
boots trying to
so
get
I've
everything?
had to move my stuff around constantly because he really loves trying
Hi,
to
you.
pull everything down from the
Hi.
dining room table. What 1-year-old would not want to do that? And then I had to move the tray as well. This is tray 1 up to the fireplace. And sadly, I don't remember which side is which, so I'm really confused on what is what in there. Next year, I will be putting stickers on certain sides, so I know that this is side 1 to 72 and make it easier for myself. My little one definitely really liked trying to grab all the plants, so that made it really difficult for me. But I will know what they are when they do start to get bigger. That's for sure. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is our journey on how we start our seeds. Again, it's different every year. Please subscribe. I hope you guys had a great day. Bye guys.